like and subscribe. What weird things happen during sex that nobody warns you about? When you accidentally pull out too far and almost snap your in half with the next thrust. When you try to be sexy and pull out and go back in over and over, but all you're doing is making her queef. Curious pets investigating. Amen. I lock the cats out and we to the sounds of them crying at the door. Sigh. As a guy, trying not to come often feels like those mini games where you have to keep a needle in the middle of a green zone while different factors try to push it left or right. You think you're about to finish? Better start counting prime numbers in your head to distract yourself. Nope, got too distracted, and now your erection is starting to go away. Now thrust harder to compensate, and you now inexplicably feel like you're going to orgasm while having only a semi-erect penis. Then to top it all off, sometimes you stop just a millisecond too late, and you get this pathetic 5% orgasm, where you feel virtually nothing. Dominant actually come, but your has decided that the show is over, and retreats for winter. Then you have to try to explain what just happened to some poor girl who thinks she did something to instantaneously kill your erection without any hope of it returning. Sometimes you can't finish applies to both sexes. Not always a bad thing, as I know it can knock your pride. Weird, but something you work around. Most assume you're going to finish overly dramatically like in porn. Or at least that's what my friends and I thought. To spare my wife's feelings, early in the relationship, if I couldn't finish, I faked it and claimed it must have been a ghost load. Edit, highest rated comment for me, and it's about envisages. Thanks for the gold and silver folks. Hip cramps. Basically when your legs are spread too wide for too long and your hip flexor becomes a traitor requiring your leg to be straight, or you'll be in too much pain for enjoyment. Even worse when it's both of your hip flexors cramping at the same time. Edit, spelling. Edit 2, never thought me admitting to getting hip cramps during sex would result in gold twice in addition to being my most liked comment. Thanks Reddit. Water is not a lubricant. Neither is hot sauce. Just when she's getting close, my tongue cramps up. Jaw, fingers, and the needing to breathe when she has both your nose and mouth in just the perfect spot. When you're so close together that you're now basically stuck together with sweat and having to pull yourself apart after. And sometimes the hollows of your chest or whatever suction to those and make a fart sound. Then you've got to stop and laugh. So I dated this girl in college for a bit. The first time we at doggy, I was surprised to see her butthole dilate to the size of a dime. Never seen that before, or since in any other partner. Sometimes I wonder if I imagined it. Edit, wow, so that blew up. To answer questions, my surprise came from the fact that I hadn't touched her asshole, it just gaped open all on its own. It stayed that way until she orgasmed, at which point it slammed shut with her orgasmic contractions. No, she didn't fart/poop. No, I did not put it in her, but at that point, I know, I probably should have. I was young and relatively inexperienced. We did bud stuff eventually though, and I can confirm she was definitely into it. We didn't date very long though, she was cray, all the best ones are it seems. You stare into the abyss long enough, and it may stare back at you. Your occasionally slips out. A latex allergy makes things interesting for me. I have to always prepare and bring latex-free condoms if sex will be a possibility. It's a little awkward when a guy goes for a condom and I have to give him the briefing on what's up and go for mine instead. And you can't really predict if it's a good fit for him. Fun stuff. Something happens that you did not necessarily want or plan for. Then you realize you kind of like that. Kinks almost happened by accident. Edit, thanks for the silver and gold you kinky. S. You realize your cat likes to watch. This is the worst. Especially as Theo not only watching but curious. You're in the heat of the moment. Feeling good. Forgetting you even have a cat. And then you feel their little paws in places they should never be. Edit. Thanks for the silver. The noises. And the smells. Sex has its own smell. Nobody warns you about how disappointing shower sex can be. One person is always cold. Water is a terrible lubricant. It can be really cramped and uncomfortable. It's super easy to slip and hurt yourself. A lot better to just have sex and then shower together afterwards. Policemen will sometimes rudely interrupt you by knocking on the car window. Probably shouldn't be in their police car doing that stuff. Edit. So this is how I received my first platinum. Thank you. I am a woman with long hair and poor eyesight, so I always have to plait my hair back. Learned that early on, and if I want to see anything I have to have my contacts on. When people said you had to prepare for sex, this was not what I had in mind. Well, if you have a cold, and you are on top, it may happen that snot dribbles out onto your beloved, and this may or may not make you laugh. When you go to kiss your honey, and your nose is kinda running, you may think it's funny, but it's not. If your significant other is lactating, the oxytocin from sex can cause milk to squirt on you. This thread better not awaken anything in me. Oh, well, hello new fetish. Sometimes, hypothetically, the girl could be on top riding, and you could wind up for a playful slap on her. And accidentally slap yourself directly in the balls, causing great pain for one party and uproarious laughter for the other, pretty much derailing the whole thing. I wouldn't know anything about this, but it happened to a friend of mine. I'm waking up to ash and dust. I miss her. And I slap my nuts. Sometimes, even if a woman is really turned on, she doesn't get wet. Eater, thank you for the gold. Sheets come off. Mattresses slide. Blankets start to bunch up, no matter how flat they lied. Pillows nowhere near the two of you will get launched. Things on the headboard are gonna fall over, just watch. Sex will turn a bed that is perfectly made into one that just hosted a slumber party. With a big sweat spot down the middle. Your first paragraph reads like a poem, and I cannot tell if that is intentional or not. Some people are absolutely amazing, sexy, wonderful people, but you just don't enjoy sex with each other. Sometimes it's libido differences, and sometimes it's just certain things don't do it for you. I dated someone who had a high sex drive like me, but she loved teasing. I don't mind it sparingly, but literally every time she'd deliberately stop before I was finished, as she got off on me being frustrated and wanting her more. Something like that just won't work out if you don't also enjoy that. But for her, normal sex didn't do it for her, so even though we had great chemistry, we would never see eye to eye in the bedroom. Always wash after eating hot wings. Fingers and face. Edit. Silver? Thanks. I'll pass it on to the wife, she's the one that deserves it. My mouth dries up to the point when I swallow it sticks, and I choke, and have to stop and get a drink. I guess from heavy breathing, moaning and panting, or getting so wound up from him, I almost pass out. Blurry vision afterwards. All those vaginal juices had to come from somewhere. Long sex does not necessarily mean good sex. For one, the girl can get sore, especially if the guy is big. It can also get boring if it goes on too long. It is all about finding the sweet spot, timing wise. I think it has been knocked into the heads of too many guys that the ideal is lasting for hours. For some women, I am sure they love that. Others, not so much. Your mind wanders. Like, yeah, I'll be trying to enjoy what is going on, and yeah, I'll know. Well, that you have been wanting this to happen for a while, and yeah, I'll still have random one-off thoughts. It can take some self-discipline to stay in the moment, especially since not everything you are doing is necessarily what is best for you. How wildly varied orgasms and time can be. Sometimes you can be extremely turned on, go for it along and dribble at the end. Other times you're extremely turned on, fire off fast, and it's like you've got a hose. You've got those seconds rounds that fire off harder than the first. It just varies so much. Her legs might start vibrating at an alarming rate. I thought she was having a seizure and panicked, but don't be done like me. Apparently some girls do that when they're about to orgasm. The falling asleep afterwards thing. But there's cleanup and peeing to do. IDK how people just roll over and sleep in their own slime while your pee hole cements itself shut. When you could go all night, but she thinks you're about to come and says don't come yet, but just hearing that makes you come. The apology later is the weird part. Anal means poop. If when it happens and you see on your for the first time, don't freak out and handle it maturely. You should never make your partner uncomfortable like that. A stealthy wipe with a wet towel and back at it without drawing any attention to what happened. Also, some girls can cry during sex. It's nothing to be overly alarmed about, but you should obviously stop to check if they're well. They probably are, and just got a bit overloaded or overstimulated. Again, don't freak out. Finally, when you go down for oral, a stray pube will get in your mouth, and then lodge itself in your throat, and stay there for like half an hour. It sucks. There's nothing you can do. Queefs, curious pets, spontaneous genital malfunction, all genders, the dreaded tame smash, muscle cramps, falling out of rhythm, flesh farts, when two particularly well-fitting sweaty areas match up, and there's a little air in between. And it escapes, real farts, short and accidental MMA matches, I've taken an elbow to the eye socket. And the sentence I don't bend that way. That's all I can think of off the top of my head. Edit, thanks for the gold and silver kind strangers. Boob farts. Show me how them tits fart. You are not always gonna have sex with someone right out of the shower. Sometimes it hurts in the moment and it does not always smell, let her say, awesome. Nearly had my eardrum blown out by a Valkyrie battle cry orgasm. My first silver award. Hell yeah. Thanks. Reapplying lube and then doing the old rodeo cowboy hand gesture, because you can't fucking find the towel, so you just kinda keep your hand elevated, like you're afraid to ask me. Lang a question in 8th grade. That awkward tension, after I disappoint her. I'll start when your head pushes into the removal wires from your girl's IUD. Hurts like hell. Short penis for the win. You've been visited by the ghost of a very important man. Pay your respects by liking and subscribing, and he'll grant you 3 weeks of good luck.